So in the last speed paint, 15-minute speed paint, I did this beach. Let's do another. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this guy, hide it, and again, fill with my background color. Actually, you know what? I'm going to deselect and just fill in all the way. I'll come over to my reference and do the last one here, and this one's a challenge. There's a lot in this. So this one is a difficult one, I think, to try to accomplish in this amount of time. But here we go. I'm going to show you all the struggles and the pain of all of this and show you that you can make a painting as complicated as this, and we'll see how well we get. All right, starting my timer in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, what would be the first thing that I pick with this? There's so many different colors. I think I'm going to go with this kind of neutral, kind of bluish color. I'm going to fill with this background color, and I'm going to make my brush really big and try to find all the tones. There's not one tone in this that is dominant, so I can see that there's like this atmosphere. So off in the distance, I'm going to paint from the back to the front, I think, and say, all right, there's blue atmosphere in the air. I love mornings like this where there's lots and lots of atmosphere. And then this field, as it gets closer, is going to shift from these desaturated kind of cool tones and work their way through cyan kind of tones and kind of come through the color wheel here, through color temperature, and work their way towards this green color. Notice I'm full cyan, but man, it feels really green compared to all of this blue back here. And I'm actually going to get the shadow colors, which are quite dark and cool. Before I go on, I'm blurring my eyes. I'm going to look for this big tree shape next. So that one actually is a warm type tone, and it's dark, and it's right, what do I say, about here, darker than that. I'm going to hold down Shift, and that'll make like a nice kind of straight line. That way I don't have to worry about painting out of that. All right, let's see if that's that. Whoa, I hate clicking on the top of a frame of the window. Okay, a little bit darker in parts, just kind of looking at this. There's my tree. I'm also going to try to get the fence in here. So the fence is a very similar tone, a little bit less saturated. So I'm going to make my brush a little smaller and look at this line. I'm being sloppy with this. This is about finding those colors. So there's a line here, there's a line here, and here. I can clean this up later once I find the tones. All right, the next thing I think is important is trying to get my person in here, and I know already that I'm probably going to ruin the proportions on this. So I'm just going to do blobs at first. There are the dark jeans in here. Big blobs. Then there's the dark of the back of his head, which is actually more of a warmer tone. I'm just going to ahead and lean this. Not just, I'm going to lean it so it looks kind of warm. That's a hard one. What color is that? It's kind of black, but it leans towards this warm color of the back of his head. All right, the next thing I want to get in is the bright sunlight in the grass. So this is actually, I'm going to guess this is actually quite a bright kind of yellow tone. Maybe like this. Just going to wiggle this in, see if I can find these tones, and then along the leaves of this tree, there is quite a bit. Well, I'm going to find this kind of minty tone here first. So it's a little bit more green, a little bit darker. I'm just going to scribble in some leafy type stuff here. It's about finding colors. I'm a third of the way through, so I feel like it needs to even be more warm and darker. there's little bits of these tones that kind of lean out this way and a little bit off this side, but then it shifts really translucent yellow. It's kind of even all the way to yellow and oranges in here. So I'm going to try to find some of these tones. Scribble, scribbles, lots of scribbles. Some of that in the grass as well. Some of that back here. There's some darker blues. Notice, I really strongly believe in your eye, that color relativity thing. Colors relative to one another. It's very important to work on the whole painting at once and make sure that we're not missing colors next to each other. Might start deceiving our eyes. Okay, I need some brighter tones in here. 9 minutes left. There's some more atmosphere that's kind of cooler way back over here, and some direct sky in this as well. That is actually it's all the way to white right in through here. So I'm going to just paint in a little bit of that pure white color. Blobs and blobs, little blobs. Okay, the next thing I want to try to get in here too, besides some of these brights, is the rim light. I think it's really important to get that bright white rim on the person here. Also, there's a lot of light that's bouncing in this off the tree and back onto their back. There actually are yellow type of tones through here. I'm going to lean towards my warm. It's going to make it look like yellow light. And now I'm just going to go ahead and make a small brush and try to get this rim light. We've got this strong rim. It's very warm, so I'm going to go ahead and try having some warmth in this. It's going to be almost impossible to see, but just let's look. It's just like this hairline on the top of this fence, but it's important for me to try to find that tone as quickly as possible so I can tell whether or not this is my color study. Is this working? Am I finding the tones of what's in here? There's what I see next. In here there's a lot lighter colors. So I'm going to scribble in some of this grass that has morning dew on it back into here. And then I'm also going to see this brownish tone of the ground near the fence. Make my brush bigger and just kind of like lightly paint in this other color that's through here. And it's picking up some light, so I'm going to pull this lighter. There is some where it hits the sunlight hits the dirt on the ground. There are these tones through here. There's some of these kind of greenish tones where the sunlight's hitting back here too. Again, whole picture. Blur my eyes. Am I getting close? I think that this jacket is not the right color. If I blur and sit back and kind of look at this, it needs actually to be quite a bit. I'm just going to go ahead and try a desaturated warm and see. And make it a little darker. Needs to be even darker. It's picking up cool rim light on one side. You can see right here, there's like cooler light, and then right here it's even darker light. Darker light. Excuse my words while I do these paintings. They are very live. I am not speeding anything up, not editing anything out. I'm trying to show the whole process of how I think when I do these things. So if I sound like I'm crazy, the accuracy of my words, it's because I am. There's a little bit of light where I can see down here by the feet, some blobs of darker tones for shoe-ish things. Stands along the fence. There's a little bit more contact shadow along the fence. Now I need some of these tones. Again, scribbling. 5 minutes left. What's most important here? What am I seeing? There are some dark tree limbs framing this image. Darker scribbles, lines to imply trees and stuff that's happening back here. There are some warmish tones. The sunlight refracting through this tree back here. It's hard to find those exact colors. It's very glowy and alive. Scribble, scribble, scribbles. Trying to find those colors. We only have 4 minutes remaining. What's most important? There's dark stuff back here. There's a big old light thing over here. And there is some definitely brighter leaves. I'm going to make sure that I get some of this super brights through these leaves. Messy with this because I can clean this up later once I've found these colors. Again, it's the last of these quick speed paint studies that I wanted to show you how to do. It is very, very important that you can learn to do this with original art, to find colors that look believable and correct. They'll feel the right tones, and if you do this fast, you will know whether or not your whole image is correct, rather than getting lost in details and having to throw out work and realize that you've wasted a bunch of time on something that's really not very nice painting. It's better to just be scribbly with this and find it and know, yep, this feels right to me, than it is to waste time illustrating something that really wasn't that great. And I'm going to just get some of the tones of the tree that I see in here. There's so much complexity in all of this. And I'm just trying to scribble in any of the tones that I see. Lean back, look at this again. You know what I'm missing? I am definitely missing the hood of the hoodie. And I'm also missing the ears. Boy, I got to get those in. I'm just going to do this like really little red blips. Oh, that's too strong. Orange, just a little hint of something, make that smaller, and that just says sunlight. Boy, you know, my person has a very warped head, too large of a head, I should say. Let's make that a little smaller so they don't look quite so alien. This hood come up a little bit higher. It is so tempting to get lost in minutia, in little tiny details that aren't as important. This isn't so bad. This'll work for me. You can get these long shadows in here, these cooler shadows. Apply where the light's coming from. And with just a minute and a half remaining, I am pretty pleased with this as a quick study. What do you think? Give it a try. I hope that you found this helpful and you can see this process. This is not a process that's taught in traditional primary, elementary schools, high schools, but this is something that is definitely done in painting, both traditional and digital. Notice I'm painting all in one layer, so that if you're working in paints, it's the same idea. It can be done. This would be tough in watercolors. I don't know. I'm not good with watercolors. They intimidate me. They dry too fast. I like being able to push and pull and kind of find all these kind of details. Scribbles in. And there's some last remaining seconds. 28 seconds left. What's missing? What's different? What's needed? Look at the whole image and see what can be better where. And 7 seconds left. I'm just going to scribble in some last second details, and then we will call this complete. All right, 15 minutes, we did it. I encourage you to give this a try yourself and to push yourself to the next level. Until next time, see you.